video is on troubleshooting the knit stitch. So there are a few questions that often come up when doing the knit stitch, and I just wanted to have a special video to cover those. So again, to do the knit stitch, this is just some garter stitch that I'm doing, just knitting back and forth. So you hold the needles parallel. Your right needle goes into the loop on the left needle. I usually hold the loop on the left needle with my left thumb. You'll see that the right needle is behind the left needle. You then wrap the yarn counterclockwise around the right needle, and if you want, you can put your right finger on that yarn you just wrapped to help hold it there. And then you can see there's a little space right here where there's a gap between the two sides of the stitches around that left needle. That gap is where your right needle needs to go. So you need to pull the right needle through that loop. So this is the new stitch that you made. Another thing sometimes knitters do is they hold this yarn so tight that you can't actually get a loop to come up. You actually need there to be a little bit of a loop. Once you've done that though, the next step is we need to get this stitch that we just went through, this is when we just pulled the yarn through, we need to get it off of the left needle. And the way you do that is you take the right needle, this is the new stitch we just made, this is the stitch we just came through, and you're going to push with your right needle until it comes completely off that left hand needle. Okay, let's do it again. Holding the left stitch with my thumb, all of the stitches are happening near the top of my work. Holding the needles parallel. The right needle goes up into the first stitch on my left hand needle. The right needle goes behind. You wrap the yarn counterclockwise around the right needle. And then there's that little space right here. That little space in that stitch on the left hand needle, the one that my thumb is holding, that's where the right hand needle comes through. Here's it from the top, comes right through there. This is the yarn you wrapped around the right needle where you're making a new loop. You have to let it pull through a little bit so you actually get a loop, and then you stop. This is the stitch that was on the left. You take your right hand needle and you push that stitch off the left needle. The way you know you're doing it right is you can count. You should still have the same number of stitches. So I started with 16. On my left needle I can see I have 6. On my right needle I can see that I have 10. So I still have 16 stitches. If I hadn't pulled that left stitch all the way off, there would be 17 stitches. So I'm going to do it just one more time. Again, this is your stitch on the left needle. I'm going to hold that with my left thumb. My needles are parallel. My right needle goes into the stitch that's on the left hand needle. It goes behind. The right hand needle goes behind the left hand needle, holding it with my left thumb. I then wrap the yarn counterclockwise around my right needle, and I put my right index finger to hold that wrapped yarn. I then use my right needle to pull that wrap that I just made, pull it through that loop on the left needle, the one I'm holding with my left thumb, pull it through and pull up a new loop. That's the new loop. Make sure you have some give on your left hand so you can pull the loop up. Then you stop right there. I actually push my two needles together. This one is the one that was on my left hand needle that I was holding with my left thumb. That stitch has to go. So now that I've pulled up my new right loop, I push that loop off my left hand needle completely. That's how you made the stitch.